everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of TritonVision. I'm your host, Devanée Williams, and today I'm joined by my amazing bosses, Amanda Green, the Director of Athletics for Marketing and Communications, as well as the Athletic Communications Coordinator, Brittany Iamele. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so our first question of the day is, what is your favorite part about working in collegiate athletics?
I'll start and then you can start on the next one. But I think for me, it's really, our jobs revolve around the student athletes and how we can, from our department, how we can best tell their stories. And I think that's my favorite thing is like we have so many different avenues that we can tell their stories, whether it's, you know, through a game, social media, interviews, working with the local media, stuff on our website. And it's just fun to get to tell those stories all the time. And then I think for my role too, I like, taking it from the administrative level and how else can we impact their lives and what else can we help them with. So I think that for me is my favorite part because that's, you know, the reason we have our jobs and the reason why we do our job. So let Brittany go.
I'm kind of along the same lines for me. Like I was a student athlete for 5 years and, you know, I was always grateful for everything that our athletic communications department put together, whether that be coverage, you know, the media days, all that. I was just super appreciative, and to be able to give that experience back to now a whole different set of student athletes is really rewarding. And you know, I always, one of my mottos in life is like, always leave something better than the way you found it. So my goal when I stepped into this role was to always enhance the student athlete experience. I know I had such a great one, but to make theirs even better than mine was.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm going to add in, I think since we've had Brittany join our staff, our stuff really has taken off. I mean, she's been our lead in video creative content this year, and I think that's such a huge piece, and I think the student athletes love that. And she's directly involved in overseeing all that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so our next question is, what advice would you give to students who want to pursue a career in collegiate athletics in an administrative role?
Yeah, I'll let you start.
I would just say getting involved is the most important thing. When I was, back in school, I kind of knew I wanted to go into sports relatively early. I declared my major going into my freshman year. So I already had my sights set on working in sports, and I made every effort I could to get every internship that I could, every volunteer experience, whether it was, a charity 5K, or one year I volunteered for working in Ironman, things like that. And I was able to get my first internship my summer going into my sophomore year, going into my junior year, which is earlier than most people do. But I'd say especially in the world of sports and collegiate athletics, just experience is so important, and just using your resources. Anyone who wants to go into sports that is, out of college or some sort of higher education institution, get involved in your school's athletic department. It's really easy, and you learn so much just by being absolutely immersed in all these different sports that maybe you never even knew you had an interest in. I didn't know that I liked volleyball so much until I started working games my junior, senior year of college, and I was like, wow, this is really fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think along the same lines is getting your foot in the door and networking. You never know who you're going to talk to and what the relationship is going to build later down the line. And I talked to so-and-so, and even if you met them one time, but you had that one great, outstanding interaction, their name is going to pop up. Everyone's connected in athletics somehow in some way, so that's really going to take over. I think the other two things that I really look for and I tell people about is you're working hard and having a passion. Just continue to work hard, try and learn something new, take the initiative to learn things and get involved in this, get involved here, take something that you see, if you're one of our student workers, hey, I know that they need help with this, and to me that shows okay, man, they're taking the initiative, they're really helping out here, I can rely upon them. I also think a really strong thing is being coachable. When you guys young professionals getting into the field, you don't know everything, but I think just knowing that you're coachable and I can give you this and you're going to take it and you're going to take the direction, you're going to take the feedback well, you're going to work hard and you're going to go from there. I know that's a lot. Brittany came right out of college, and that was the biggest thing I could say is that she was coachable and she was ready to sit here and learn, and she worked hard. And I think that is evolved from my student workers as well as with you and the rest of our crew. You guys are passionate, you're hardworking, you get involved, and you take our feedback well, and hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to improve from here. So.
So our next set of questions is for Amanda. So Eckerd is your alma mater. You majored in communications here as well as played softball. So what made you decide to stay at Eckerd for your career?
Really, it's the people. I think we have the go-to expression is Eckerd College changes lives, and it really does. And I don't really know how to encapsulate into a sentence or to really explain how it does, but I think you just feel the magic when you're here. I know, especially with our staff, I can rely upon anybody, and there's that family-based atmosphere, and that's something that's been built really from the foundation of Eckerd Athletics, going back to Coach Harley, and now with Tom Ryan as our athletic director, but all of our staff. And I feel like that I had it both as a student athlete, and then when I had to stop playing and I was a student worker in the department, you can feel that in every different aspect. And just coming home to that it's a place, I love and I know and near and dear to my heart, but also something that I have a strong passion for. Like I said, I had a great time here as a student athlete, so coming back and knowing that I'm going to make this place better, and I can, like Brittany said earlier, leave it better than you found it, and I just feel like Eckerd's such a special place, and that really, it keeps you here. As you see with many of our staff that are alums, that's one of the biggest things, is just, you don't know how to describe it, but Eckerd just is this place. It's family oriented, and everyone's got your back here, and everyone's here to help each other out, and I think that was the main reason to come back.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so our next question is, what do you think is the most challenging part about being the head of athletic marketing and communications?
I think one of the toughest things is that marketing and communications really encompasses so much. Like everything that goes out in charge of our 14 different teams, all of our student athletes, coaches, staff, and really making sure that we're putting out as much content as possible, but that it's consistent and it's of high quality. And that's something that I've really tried to do, is making sure we're equally representing our teams, but like this is quality content and not just kind of put something out. And I think what we do specifically is, what we're putting out is what's representative of our department, and kind of people aren't here day in and day out and get to know everybody. So really what we're producing is what people see of Eckerd Athletics and how they see us. So making sure that it fits into our overarching brand and identity, and that it's how we best want to depict Eckerd Athletics. And kind of looking early on, this was hard for me to kind of take a step back and make sure all the different representative groups that we're putting this out to, how it looks to them, because we're getting student athletes, students, prospective students, alumni, parents, sponsors, so kind of looking at all those different perspectives when we're putting out content, and does it fit into what we want to depict of Eckerd Athletics, how is it valued to each person, and is it the best quality product that we're putting out. So kind of just looking at all those different avenues. For me to approach that, I think I have a really great staff that helps me, and they trust in the vision that we put out there for Eckerd Athletics and Eckerd, and working hard to, I know that they're dependable and they work hard to deliver that product. So I think that's really been how I overcome that and help with that, and also getting as many different opinions as possible. We have a great collaborative department here. I go to Brittany to a lot of advice, my student workers, but also my director of athletics and my associate ADs, even my family. They're always there to ask a question and help me with anything where I'm trying to decide which way we should go on something or how this looks. It's a very collaborative department.
All right, so our last question for Amanda is, you just recently got your master's from Wayne State University. So what was that process like, and how was it completing a degree while also working a full-time job?
Yeah, it's a lot. As I mentioned a second ago, athletic communications really encompasses a lot. So any job in athletics is, more than a full-time job. So I think it was very tough doing my classes. I did it for, 2 years straight because I wanted to make sure I could, get stuff done, but consistently do it. It's something I think is going to really help me in my role here, but as I progress in my career within athletic administration, it's something I can really rely upon. But definitely tough, a lot of hours. I think my internship actually really helped a lot. I did that with the department here, but within different avenues that I don't normally do, like fundraising, advancement side of things, even some compliance. So I think that's was super beneficial, and I'm really glad I went through it all and I got my master's degree, and it was very rewarding in December to get that. So.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so our next set of questions will be for Brittany. So you went to Florida Southern College, which is another Sunshine State Conference institution. So what made you decide to stay in the conference to work after graduation?
Yeah, so I wasn't necessarily tied down to staying in the conference, but I definitely wanted to stay in Florida. I'm from New York, so lot of cold weather up there that I didn't want to go back to. And it's funny, I always said, oh, Florida will be a great place to go to school for 4 or 5 years, and then I'll probably move back home. But once I was down here, I was like, that's it. I'm staying down here. And so I was looking at a lot of different athletics jobs in the state of Florida, and this one was like one of the first ones that I applied for. Definitely the one that I was most interested in because I was familiar with the conference. I knew that my connections could help me get here, and I honestly love that I stayed as a part of the conference. It's really cool now to go back, like when we play Florida Southern and other sports like basketball or volleyball. I'll go over there and I'll see people, but it's like in a different perspective, and it's really cool. But everyone over there was also like so supportive of me, and I really appreciate that. But no, I definitely love Sunshine State Conference. It's definitely one of the strongest conferences in Division II for all of athletics, for every sport. Really, it's really like the best of the best. So, yeah.
All right, so our last question is that you played lacrosse at Florida Southern and you now ref high school and collegiate lacrosse. So what is it like being on the other side of the field in that way?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've always said that I've been surrounded by sport like my entire life. So I've done everything. I've pretty much done everything imaginable when it comes to sports. I've played them, worked in them, coached them, officiate them, spectate them. I feel like I've done it all in that kind of aspect, but I really enjoy, especially now that working at an institution where we don't have the sport that I grew up my entire life playing, it's still a way that I'm able to stay involved. And I really enjoy it. Officials are really needed, and especially in the sport of lacrosse in the state of Florida. But I really enjoy, giving back to the game that gave me so much, and to be able to have worked my way up all the way to like the collegiate rankings now, and I'm still going for further and further certifications because I want to push myself in that regard. It's really cool, and I have a really good group of people that they all went through it with me. Some of my former teammates at Florida Southern, who we have we call it our zebra support group. And it's just great to just be able to have each other's back. And not every game is a great game. You made a bad call, but you gotta just be confident about it. It happens to everyone, but I love reffing, and it's something that I encourage a lot of people to do. Not even for lacrosse, but other sports. Like if you're passionate about it, I think it's one of the best ways to get involved.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys both so much for joining me, and I also want to give a huge thank you to my bosses again, because without them, this podcast would not be possible. So thank you guys so much. Thank you all again for watching this week's episode of TritonVision, and we will see you again next week.